Alrighty. How is everybody? I see you are in YouTube. And I see you Fire over there in WAP. Let's check the other sites here. We got some economic events coming down the pipe right now. So, welcome to the stream, everybody. I'm your boss, Joe Boss, to another daily plan. Alright, let's get this show on the road. We have some US data on housing and a lot of Canadian data here on inflation. Canadian CPI, Canadian core CPI. Yep. And then housing starts, import prices. We know import prices is probably going to be on the higher end. But we'll just see how high import prices have got in the United States due to the tariff threats. Let's check out the FX heat map real quick. Looks like the Aussie isn't doing too great. The pound, no. Swiss franc is doing really well. The yen is taking a break. And the dollar seems to be doing a-okay against most things, but flat on the day also against Euro, New Zealand, and CAD. So let's go ahead and check out what's going on with the Aussie. How about that? What is going on with the Aussie? Take a sip of water here. Bond do. Orders for USD CAD at 1.416. Gotcha. We'll check that out. Looks like we'll probably end the month above R1 at this pace. So we'll probably be in for quite the bullish month here on the Aussie. And if we check out the week, let's check out our high odds. Yeah, would not be surprised to see the top for the month in. Let's go ahead and now check out that USD CAD. USD Kitty CAD. Yeah, and you can see the yield spreads are doing quite okay here. Right? We got a whole lot more green here. A whole lot less red here. These yield spreads look like they are probably a day away from flipping. They are kind of officially neutral now. again, I need to do some research and find out why exactly we had this drop. UK PM Starmer. The Prime Minister spoke to Trump late on Monday to update a coalition of willings plans to support Ukraine. Gotcha. And that the UK cabinet agrees that the package, let's pull up the pound while we talk about this. The pound here has the spring statement coming up, and that package is going to include a cut welfare bill. And excuse me, I do have a stuffy nostril. Okay, and I got financial juice over on the side here, so we will be keeping an eye on things as they develop, and as we get closer to these prints coming in, I'll turn on the financial juice squawk. Man, every time I stream, I have problems with this multi-stream. You're gonna have to find out what's causing these problems after the stream today. Let's go ahead and check out Financial Juice's morning prep. Alright, futures for major US indices fell as Russian President Vladimir Putin was reported to be demanding a suspension of all weapons deliveries to Ukraine, and during a ceasefire proposal. Israel violated nearly 2-month ceasefire with Hamas. Oh. Alright, so the war is back on. These developments fuel concerns that the US economy is losing steam as a result of Trump's trade and labor policies. Gold rose above $3,000 an ounce. Saw a 5th day of inflows, okay. Oil prices rose. We'll actually check out gold here. Yeah, there it is. You can see I had a bearish expectation, and so far that has definitely been wrong. And mostly because of this stuff here. If you want to protect yourself against geopolitical risks and escalations, gold is a very, very common use case for people with exposure to these risks. Now, I was expecting those risks to continue to de-escalate. So that's why I had the negative expectation here on gold. And it came out in the opposite direction. Again, everything's okay when you set expectations and are wrong, so long you know why you were wrong later. So then you can say, oh, okay, I had this assumption going into this expectation, and that assumption was wrong. Here's the thing that was wrong about it. So now going into the future, I'll have a different set of expectations, and I'm more likely to be right by updating my beliefs. Simple as. No need to overthink it. Alright, let's go ahead and check everything out on WAP. Hello, Aristotle. I see you also in the chat. And I see you guys still over here on YouTube. Coolio, Leo. Wow, Bitcoin down on the day, a percent. Nothing too crazy right now. Man, if Bitcoin does fall super significantly, let's go ahead and check out the low odds here. I mean, we already hit the probability weighted pivot for the month. It's quite likely the low is already in here. If the low is in for the month, where does timing dots say that we get to go? Let's do 1.5%. 2.5%. Huh. Yeah, not that many dots here. For an asset like Bitcoin, you have to make this bound box pretty big in order to find similar samples. Okay. So, yep, that's likely the low for the month, I'd say. Let's go ahead and check out the high data. Yeah, maybe you just get a slightly lower high, and maybe you get a slightly higher high. It's really going to depend on the information we get towards the end of the month, whether or not we actually rally up. Nothing too crazy, but this needs more time and more confidence. Let's go ahead and check out that dollar CAD. So let's see here. Ari, you were pointing out 1.416. Wow, that is pretty far down here, huh? That's just the low of these lows. Oh man, check out how big that box is now. What's your point? I know, 1.5. And I'm not terribly certain that this low is actually, yeah, you can see a bunch of high variability here, and a lot of these, yeah. So if we do see a rebound based on the historical data, it doesn't really look like we're gonna get a huge rebound here on the DXY. Well, on the dollar CAD, that is. Check out the low dots. So given, I believe, this high here, which is the top for the month, yeah, we still have a lot of low dots over here. We have a lot more samples of going lower given this high than given this low. Let's see. Do I have my Epic Pen? No, I have to load up the Epic Pen. So guys, let me know if there's any particular chart you want me to bring up. We got 4 more minutes until we get some economic data here, covering Canadian CPI and some US macro/micro data here. Let's see here. Investors will be focusing on the prospect of Germany increasing spending by hundreds of billions of euros as the country's parliament is prepared to vote on a landmark fiscal bill. All right. Yep. People are moving money from US assets to European assets because of the stimulus over in Europe. But it doesn't seem like the euro is doing all that well. It's mostly flat against all these other pairs, but it's doing well against yen, pound, and Aussie. Oh, keep moving these lines. Let's just lock these all into place so then I don't move them anymore. So I plan around the music volume. Okay, now that we got our epic bend going. So we got a bunch of lows down here, and then we got another cluster right there. So either fall down and then get back up, or something along these lines. That's kind of what I see going on here. Or at least what I would think would be pretty likely given these things. However, again, these yield spreads are improving. And when yield spreads do improve, you are less likely to continue falling. So, again, I kind of have to see how the US-Canada phone call with the Carney and Trump goes before I officially hop out of these. Yep, and you can see we're back, way back. See, we have a really fat top wick on the day here, huh? Let's go to a 6 hour. Wow, that thing has reversed pretty hardcore here. Well, if that does end up being the top, and based on the ranges, that damn well could be a pretty good top there. We got some lows here and some lows there. So let's see here. From here to here is about 80 pips, 70 pips, and then from here to here is 100 to 130. And then there's all of these dots way down here that are super far and dispersed that more or less fit in line with this part of the distribution, right? Yeah, these dots and then a couple of these, and then super high variance way down here. This is, you're not buying these down here. You're not buying these. And you're not buying this. Maybe you buy here, but that's a huge question mark. Oh, we're getting the data. Here comes the data. I'm turning on Financial Juice Squawk, so let's see here. Oh, Financial Juice Squawk is taking a little while to load here. Come on.
Month over month, 0.4%, 0.4%, higher than forecast, 0%. Building permits at 1.456 million, 1.456 million, higher than forecast, 1.453 million. Housing starts change month over month was 11.2%, that's 11.2%, higher than forecast at 1.4%. Export prices month over month, 0.1%, 0.1%, higher than forecast minus 0.1%. The Canadian CPI breakdown, the trim was 2.9%, 2.9%, higher than forecast 2.8%. The median, 2.9%, 2.9%, higher than forecast 2.7%. The common, 2.5%, 2.5%. And the core CPI month over month was 0.4%, 0.4%. So again, quite a large amount of upside in the Canadian dollar here, seeing a gap up on CAD JPY following the hotter than expected Canadian CPI numbers.
All right, that's going to make the Bank of Canada on the more hawkish side. And considering their current...
Noting some prior revisions here as well. Housing starts prior revised down to 1.35 million from 1.366 million. Housing starts month over month. The prior was revised down to minus 11.5% from minus 9.8%. And import prices month over month. The prior was revised up to 0.4% from 0.3%.
That's going to be inflationary on the US side of things, those numbers. But the Canadian numbers are going to make the BoJ, in my opinion, I believe, more hawkish. However, they are currently quite dovish, so that's going to not make them explicitly hawkish. My expectation is that it's going to shift them from their dovish position to a neutral position, effectively to hold their current rates. So, net, this might make the Canadian dollar continue to strengthen, and you can actually see the yield spreads turning red here, indicating some bearish movement. But now the question is that it? Is that the whole in caboodle? Let's real quick do one thing here. Let's go to a 12-hour chart. Let's go to our strategy dashboard, and let's go ahead and toggle on the counter trend setting here. What are the odds for counter trend trades working? Let's see here. For the current week, 9% of a bullish counter trend. Yeah, so a bearish counter trend doesn't even work at all. A bearish counter trend looks something along these lines, where I believe you are shorting from way up here. Yeah, you're shorting from way up here. And the bullish counter trend calculation ran out of time. Thankfully, when that happens, we can just refresh the chart. Sometimes when TradingView gets very, very busy, they don't like it. Okay. It says counter trend bearish, but that's the bullish one. It says 0. Oh, that's because we have the... That's right. We have the high data load. Yep, that's right. Alright, so let's check out our odds of a stop loss getting hit. So if going down here, it's about 4%, 13% of getting a drawdown, 9% of this actually being the low for the week. So I'd say, of all the strategy biases, the counter trend bullish setup is pretty well set. However, for the amount of volatility that's expected going forward, you're probably gonna have to use like super low size. Yeah, that's how people using the strategy would likely go. Super low size, because it's high volatility on the way down, and generally that can lead to high volatility on the way back up. Also, it's from here to here. This is effectively an 80 pip stop. That's pretty big. That's a pretty big stop, considering the thing has already moved, like, at least from the beginning of this week, what, another 100 pips already? Yeah, close. Call it 95. Yeah. So, the reason I pull up counter trend bias is there is a singular rule of thumb that I've used to consistently identify using the counter trend bias for pivots. And that singular rule of thumb is the top or the bottom for the month comes around past S1.5 or R 1.5. We'll go ahead and use the unbiased pivots here. Yeah, see, R1.5, right? So either the low comes in past S1.5, the top comes in past R1.5, and it's occurring sometime in the first third of the trading period. So in this case, we have weekly pivots. We would look at counter trend setups if we are trading in the first third of the week. So effectively, it has to be by the middle of Tuesday. You know, late Tuesday at the latest. Once Wednesday rolls around and you're making new highs past Wednesday, don't get me wrong, it could still happen, but like for all of the good examples I've seen of a counter trend trade working, the trade has occurred, the setup has occurred by Tuesday. And so far, we seem to be bouncing off of that. We seem to be recovering. So we will see how well this performs. So guys, let me know if there's any more charts you want me to check out. I know we have the BoJ around the corner, so let's actually check out some yens. And you can see the yen is kind of getting hammered here, especially against the dollar. All right, well, here's our bullish dollar yen expectation getting hit. And it seems like we might be exceeding this expectation here. We're pretty close in time, pretty close in price. Yep, TradingView is having some loading issues at the moment. Yikes. Yeah, with yield spreads increasing, going into a low probability zone, it makes me think that we're going into the next highest spot in the range probabilities, which happens to be right here, right? So something along these lines. Let's go ahead and check out where does the probability pivots say. We will go on the upside. Wow, that's already the probability weighted pivot. In most scenarios, I would be open to just being short here, right? And you can say that's why we have the expectation here. Well, you know, with the BoJ meeting around the corner, if they come out explicitly hawkish and say, okay, we're going to be cutting at the next meeting, or rather, we're going to be hiking at the next meeting, not cutting, then yes, I would certainly expect a full-on reversal here. But I guess expectations going into the BoJ meeting aren't as hawkish as that. Let's go ahead and see, has there been any update? Israel cuts the IDF is to intensify strikes if Hamas doesn't let go hostages. Let's see here. Well, we can always check out the euro side of things. So again, with yield spreads increasing like this, it's kind of hard to argue against more upside. Yeah, you can see how the yield spreads have been increasing more positively. It is a bit hard to expect this downside now. Let's go ahead and check out the euro side of things, because we now are getting stimulus coming in. And okay, what a relief. Again, I wonder what is causing this really sudden and fast pullback, because that's 50 pips, like immediately. Let's see here. Right around here was 2 to 3. Did we get some information? German zoo, current conditions were worse than forecast. And that came in around 3. Let's see here. Yeah, nothing terribly crazy. Maybe. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on the debt break coming here through financial juice, which is generally concerning because I want information on what's going on with the votes. I guess I'll wait till the highlight clips come out on YouTube later today from the Bundestag with Google Translate on them, and then discuss what was mentioned. Let's see here. Where is it? Yeah. Research forum. German debt break. So when I get some news about this, when I find a highlight video about this later today, I'll go ahead and bring it up over here in the debt break forum. Link to that is pinned in the stream, unless you're here on WAP, and you already know where to go. You're already in Plan the Profit community. Go ahead and click on that and you'll be in the Discord. Ah, man. I do have to say, having this stuffy nose this morning is zapping away at my energy a little bit. Ah. Gonna have to make sure I take some vitamin C today. Make sure I don't get sick. That'd certainly be kind of boring. No streams for the rest of the week. Oh no, and we have a bunch of streams planned for the rest of the week. So yeah, we'll see how well USD CAD holds up from this point on. And when is the BoJ meeting? Oh, it's much later today. I'm gonna have to probably do a second stream today just for the BoJ meeting. And then tomorrow we have FOMC, which is going to be the big stream. So I got to make sure I feel good for tomorrow. I really got to make sure. Yeah, it's going to be a big, big, big day there. We're going to find out how hawkish the Fed is, or how dovish the Fed is. And again, given the survey data, expecting higher inflation, I think that they're going to lean in on the more hawkish side of things. Now, whether or not that hurts the US dollar is kind of up in the air. Yeah, they are definitely going to hold, but I think they're going to have a more hawkish tone to their hold because they want to tamper in the my expectation is that they'll want to tamper the surprise, any sort of creeping expectations that inflation is going to rise higher, due to the tariffs and whatnot. So they're going to try and get ahead of the curve there by issuing more hawkish stance. However, if that is good for the dollar or not, my logic is that it actually would probably be bad for the US dollar because the focus in the US right now is on growth. That seems to be the main driver, the main explanation as to why the US dollar has been weakening, right? Across all these pairs. I mean, we got this stimulus out of Germany that's caused this huge rise, right? And this rise was because, we're getting stimulus in Germany that's going to fuel all this new growth in the European economy. And we're going to see all this growth happen at a faster rate than in the United States. Well, if the Federal Reserve were to hold and issue slightly more hawkish policy, sure, it might bring down inflation expectations. But it's also going to put a cap on growth because right now is kind of a time where when you're trying to restart an economy, unless you are, actively experiencing some disinflation, when an economy tries to grow, you do see some inflation. And given that we already have a lot of stuff going on with tariffs in the United States, I wouldn't be surprised to see somewhat higher inflation in the US. But lower growth is going to be arguable. I think the US will do a pretty good job in holding its growth. I mean, the most recent, the latest GDP number for Q1 is probably going to be underestimated because of the sheer amount of imports. Yeah, you could say that's along the same thing why I still have a more bearish expectation, more bearish bias for gold, Ari. That's exactly right. It's along those same lines. But again, if the Fed were to hold their rates and give hawkish policy, that would hurt growth a bit more, improve inflation a bit more. And then you have these positive expectations expected to continue. Wow, check that out. Most of the time we top out around here. We don't go past that R2.5 very often. Next month is generally more bullish. Let's load more historical data. There should be more data here on the gold futures chart. No. But yeah, next month is generally more bullish. If we were going to trade around 3,100, 3,200. I think it'd be more likely to do that next month rather. Except given the fact of what I just explained about growth and the FOMC's expectations, I would not be surprised either to see gold continue to rise going into FOMC here. I guess you can view my expectation not as a short-term one, but as an intermediate-term one. Don't get me wrong, these things will have short-term, immediate price impacts, but they're not going to establish any sort of meaningful trend. I.e., my expectation is that there'll be more money to make over a longer period of time, still trying to be long the US dollar. It just might not be the right time to do that. And that's not to say I'm not shorting US dollar, right? I shorted US dollar over here going long the euro. But you can kind of see, at least when you look at yield spreads, right, why I start to get more bearish, right? It's green, 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 green. And then I get these shorts over here on these two pieces of news. All right. And we're just trying to find out how much time we gotta wait. Or at least how much time I have to wait for these trades to work out more so in my favor. Same thing with the dollar CAD side of things. We'll see how it goes going forward. Especially once we get information on Trump and Carney's relationship. So yeah, not a whole lot of news left to cover here in the stream. Wow, this is going to be like a normal stream. We will have another stream later today, I believe, for BoJ. It'll probably be a quick one. Yeah, nothing's likely going to move until after FOMC. I 100% agree. So we're going to have a BoJ stream later today, and then we will have our great and beautiful and wonderful FOMC stream tomorrow. Man, that's going to be a big one. All right, you guys, we'll go ahead and call it here and get the rest of our days started. Absolutely appreciate you all hanging out and watching. You're on WAP, you're on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. Alrighty, you guys. I will see you on over in the Discord. Link to all this stuff is here, either pinned or in the description. And if you're on WAP, then you're already in. Okay. I will see you all in a bit.